to introduce Ken Westdorp, who's going to be reading from his book, Gateway to Obscurity. Gateway to Obscurity. And one of the things that's interesting, and maybe Ken will explain, is where he found the gate that he used as the picture for the front of the book. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very obscure and rather cryptic introduction.
Yes.
Well, the explanation towards the gate is, I love garage sales, and I still love garage sales. And I was going to one garage sale, I believe it was in White Rock, if I'm not mistaken. And there's this white gate, wooden gate, propped up against a wooden a metal shed. It was all by its lonesome. And there's dandelions in front of it, and I thought, oh, wow, that's rather interesting. So I thought, I'll write a poem about it. So, as you so willingly mentioned that, I guess I should read the poem that inspired that.
Good thinking.
Okay. I did not have it marked up, but I know where it is.
Good.
Okay. The gate. Flourishing dandelions worship the faded white wooden picket gate. Stranded and cast off, obsolete and abandoned, sorely neglected by society. Nostalgically designed with practical purpose. Denied repair, instead replaced. Momentary scenery whispers a story. Opened opportunity into the unknown. Imaginary route where possibilities exist. Distorted wonders beyond reality.
Very nice. I like
Thank
that.
That's really good.
Now, I love your applause and everything, but let's hold it till the end. That way, you know, I can get to the end.
Okay.
Okay, for the next poem, A Mother's Love, which was originally written as a Mother's Day gift to my mother, and has since been revised. And it's in recognition of the love and support my mother gave me as a young child. It's a poem especially dedicated to all the mothers and the relationship they have with their children. I thank you so much for bringing me forth in life, nurturing me through gestation, ensuring my eventual birth. In childhood, I suckled your breasts, gaining strength and further development. Within your arms, I found love and comfort from loneliness. You taught me understanding and encouraged my dreams. When I was ill or injured, you aided in my recovery. During times of family squabbling, you sheltered me from the storm. Acting on my behalf, you helped me keep the family intact. At times, I would abuse your love, subjecting it to teenage rage. Terrible names I called you, torturing you in awful ways. How fortunate to have you as a mother, with all the trouble I've put you through. I know I don't say it often enough, but you're my best friend in the world. The next poem is entitled Weak. And by the way, it's on page 9 if you're looking for it, Richard.
Okay, thank you.
It's about being a weak child growing up, about being bullied both at school and by my father, about the expectations society places on us as male children, about being strong and protective, even though, you know, we are not just robots, we are beings of emotion. Strength and bravery fractured by humanity, understanding beneath a hardened shell. Weak yet courageous to demonstrate emotions, bold and unafraid of lurking darkness, vulnerable to attachments tugging at the heart, legendary heroics and physical bravado, conscious objectors who negotiate peace, a powerful warrior ready to do battle, defender of innocence with little regard to self, dedicated soldier to a justified cause, defiant and righteous in protecting the sacred, steadfast commitment beneath human frailty, a true believer grounded by compassion, resilient to adversity, grounded by understanding, riddled by imperfections, empowered by salvation. Mere mortal heroes, challenging insurmountable odds, champions of the oppressed, taking a stand, ordinary people making the ultimate sacrifice. My next poem is Childhood Mentor, which is the next one following. And I'm sure you all remember a character named Mr. Rogers in television. Well, I was one of the ones that grew up with him, and he made me feel like I was loved by at least someone in the world. And he made me feel that imagination was important. And I wrote this shortly after his passing. Farewell, gentle soul, who nurtured generations, a childhood mentor who instilled love. Despite political and civil unrest, you remain true. Among the neighborhood were such memorable characters as Speedy Delivery and King Friday, to name but a few. Without fail, you were there, Mr. Rogers. Less sophisticated than his contemporaries, loved by all, boys and girls, who tuned in to his morning show. A welcoming smile, a gentle voice, of absolute warmth. Beyond, there awaits a magical place. Though now gone, your influence will remain. Next poem I'd like to read is Middle Child, which is on page 15. Since you're following along. Got it? Okay. Being the middle child of four, my sister and I were subjected to both verbal and physical abuse, which was considered discipline back then. So we felt often belittled and not loved. So this is a poem about that. Neither beginning nor end, but in the middle, fighting for identity among sibling rivalry. Often overlooked is the middle child, burdened with the yoke of the eldest sibling, neglected by parents who pampered the baby, struggling for attention with disastrous results, living within a fantasy in order to be appreciated. Growing isolation leads to greater rebellion. A middle syndrome troublesome child, exhibiting behavior of radical nature, a growing nuisance to a perfect family. Revealing emotions with artistic flair, labeled childish and typical of a middle-born. Perseverance overcomes artificial expectations. Newly recognized creativity gradually becomes appreciated. Eventually, balance adds some stability. Maturity and understanding heal earlier conflicts. Growing admiration for the middle child. Situated at the center by virtue of birth. Meaning found within a child's search for purpose. And the next one's on page 35, called One Too Many Stories. Got it? Okay. This one is about how a spouse will often apologize for her in the relationship to keep it intact. How my wife would often apologize for situations even though I may be the guilty party. Yet another example of communication between a man and a woman which is certainly unbalanced. This I wrote to her in an attempt to level the field and try to instead of simply trying to be an excuse for my actions, instead of taking responsibility. My melodramatic episodes earlier concealed behind a romantic facade. An act of desperation from a lonely soul. My immature behavior, once thought cute, now fuels your frustration. A troubled childhood I have never fully escaped. Foolishness and false bravado I wear like armor. To hide my vulnerability, a man without a purpose, searching for answers. Your constant badgering enrages the beast that I have become. A struggle for someone who's battered by self-doubt. Friends and family question the validity of a peculiar relationship. Stories flow like water, yet understanding remains elusive. our stubborn convictions impede the success of communication. And next, I'd like to read Drifting, which is on page 47. Okay, this poem I wrote because there are some words that bring about feelings all on their own. Drifting is one of them, and I felt a connection with them because, I don't know about you, but I often drifted off into my imagination in school because I was bored with the class. So, and a particular day like this, I did do a lot of daydreaming. Drifting, slipping into illusion while anchored in reality, cast upon waves, the lap over emotion, propelled by forces of chaos without end, spiraling out of control down empty corridors. Worlds collide into a malaise of shadow and light. Limitless perception infects mental stability and delicate equilibrium. Physical paralysis impedes basic function beyond one will. An indecisive struggle more and more difficult to fight. Released from responsibility, temptations increasingly overwhelm. Portals into another realm offer chances of greater insight. And the next one is just following, called Parental Expectations. And most of us, like, if you're a male in the family, you're expected to follow, not only carry on the name, but to carry on the legacy of the family. And being the only male heir to the throne, I suppose it was, I was expected to carry on the name and carry on my father's business and be the man he wasn't in a lot of ways, or he never became. Conflicts, a lack of consultation, alienate each generation, guilt and manipulation, upholding productivity, managing the family business. Artistic merit belittled as frivolous and childish. Abandoned dreams inflict teenage regret. Necessary responsibilities overshadow another's pursuit. Unspoken regrets enforce a stringent agenda. Parental expectations ignite rifts between family members. Academic challenges to an imaginative mind. Rules and regulations over creativity. Talented behavior squandered beneath a father's ambitions. Hardship and anger drive a wedge between father and son. Time and reflection help to overcome several roadblocks. Next is 57, Midlife Crisis. Now this is a little bit of tongue-in-cheek about growing old and reaching the age of 50 a few years ago. Gray hairs hold no silver lining. Wiry whiskers sprout from nose and ears. Youthful years behind me, I got the midlife crisis blues. Substantial gain physically impairs me. Decreased mobility from lack of energy. Daredevil antics, just a memory. To a man who suffers the midlife crisis blues. Sexual disinterest adds major turmoil. Prescription drugs help medicate the problem. Longevity quickly dwindles for someone condemned to the midlife crisis blues. Passion and spontaneity have all but abandoned me. Sentenced forever to the midlife crisis blues. Sickness and death seem to offer the ultimate escape. And now to lighten the mood, a poem dedicated to my lovely wife, Arvita. And this is a love poem I think I gave to her for Valentine's Day. And I've tried to incorporate a lot of characteristics of Albania in the poem, since she's from Albania originally. And she's also my greatest supporter behind the book. And she makes me focus on the important things in life and stop acting like a child most of the time. She makes me feel more capable and see her and the audience by my side, daring me during the ups and downs. Personified with tradition, quite diverse from my own. A strong-willed individual devoted to ideals of the past. You are my Balkan beauty, unique in every way. Rich with features defined by a culture and a history among the Albanian people. My Balkan beauty to whom none can compare. The spell you cast upon my heart is both exotic and unusually mystifying. An expressive being whose knowledge is vast, instilled with wisdom and consideration towards others. The only person to ensnare my heart. A refined Balkan beauty merged with a Buni person. My lifetime partner, steadfast in her commitment and unwavering passion, nurtures my maturity. Our matrimonial union, although often tested, remains forever steadfast. The next is conflict and conversation, page 94. And basically this was inspired by a radio program I heard one day about conflict and conversation and about the lack of communication men have in life, especially between their partners. Mostly we communicate by grunts. And maybe one-word sentences. So this is to go beyond this. Opposite attractions develop beyond physical engagement into long-term relationship. Temporary courting rituals increasingly become scarce. Verbal aggression overwhelms the situation. Enraged emotions cause momentary blindness. Stubborn silence infuriates a ceasefire. Bottled up feelings wedge couples apart. Apologies are forthcoming without any lasting resolution. Understanding never happens to bridge a growing gap. Conflict unleashes verbal hostility towards unresolved hurt. Mutual conversation initiates the healing and eventual respect. Openness and honesty breaks down the walls. Unflinching clarity can focus the illusion. Despite the difficulties, love is worth the fight. Awareness of one another helps fortify the bond. Determination is the key to a lengthy solution. Unyielding commitment will ensure success. Worthy characteristics magnify the passion. Enlightened personalities fuse two distinct minds. What was once physical flourishes into promise. And my final poem is entitled Passing, and that would be on 101. Okay. This is a dedication to my father, who, as growing up, I didn't have a very good relationship with, but as he grew older and when he, especially when he developed his first stroke and the armor came down around his emotions and he became more open in a lot of ways. I saw the weakness within the man as opposed to the brave knight he tried to portray. And I wrote this at 3 o'clock in the morning when we were going to scatter his ashes at a favorite fishing hole. So we'll share it with you today. Upon these fertile waters we cast your ashes this day. A father, a son, a brother, and a devoted husband. You may find peace and tranquility in life's final journey. Within nature's greatest symphony, each wave and ripple calms the pain. Though no longer among us, your memories will last. A child, a man, a mentor, and someone special. One day we will join you. Once more our family will then be complete. Till then, we say goodbye as your spirit is set free.